Self-care is a buzzword these days. Everybody's talking about self-care. Oh, you're getting divorced. You need self-care. Don't forget self-care. I mean, you hear this term all the time. And when people talk about self-care, they're usually talking about you have to be good to your body, you have to get massages, go for walks, go to therapy, make sure you go to your doctor's appointments. And that is all amazing. But there's an area of self-care that is so important, and it's called wealth care. That's what I want to talk about today. Everybody talks about how important self-care is, but I'm sorry, without, okay, let's edit that out, Rob. Sorry about that. Without financial self-care, you are undermining your well-being. To talk about this with me today, I have a great guest. Her name is Amanda Campbell. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So nice to have you. I want to tell my listeners about you. Amanda is a CFP, a CDFA, an AAMS, and an AIF. What are those things? They are credentials. She's a financial advisor who has a niche in helping women before, during, and after divorce. And her company is Wealth Spire Advisors. And Amanda wrote this article called One Area of Self-Care is Wealth Care. And so she's the perfect person to talk about this with. So do you agree with me, Amanda, that people think of self-care and they don't think about finances, and financial stress is really, really big with women, especially during divorce?
Oh my gosh, it's so at the forefront of so many divorces, right? I get calls from women all the time. Amanda, my husband and I are talking about divorce, really considering it, or even down the path. And I am so scared about money. And I always say it doesn't matter if you have $20 million or $20. Money fear is real, money stress is real. And the only way to combat that, to start overcoming that stress, overcoming that fear, is with knowledge, is with help. So it's real. And I always tell women, you're not alone. You're not alone. This is a real stressor when you're going through divorce, or even if you're not. Money is actually very stressful across the board. But especially when, you know, stereotypically the woman will take the back seat to the CFO, right? Like I always say, a household, you kind of have to divide and conquer the roles, right? I always say, moms typically take over, wives typically take over the role of CEO and COO. CFO tends to be a husband job, right? Uh,
Absolutely. I hear that so much. And I was not that way. I was kind of, it was very balanced in my marriage, but that's only because, and Amanda, you might not know this, I have a Series 7 license and I used to work in the industry. It was my first job out of college. I'm going back 35 years, but I understood the markets, I understood investing. And when I got into the divorce business, I realized that what you're saying is right. I'm talking to so many women who have never even looked at their bank accounts or their investment. They don't understand the stock market. And there's no shame in it. Let's clarify this.
no shame. And I would go a step further to say, it's not really geared for us, right? When you turn on like Wall Street or read an article or just anything, it's just a bunch of old white dudes in navy suits trying to tell you about the market using jargon. How's that helpful for someone like me or my friends, right? So many times I get that exact same thing, Jackie, where women are just like, can you just explain this to me like I'm a normal person, we're having coffee?
And, what I want to tell my listeners is that you don't have to get a Series 7 license, but what Amanda and I are going to talk about is educating yourself to the point where you understand the basics and as it pertains to you. That's all you really have to know. It's not difficult. And once you learn about the market and understand certain basic things, you're going to feel so empowered and you're going to be able to make decisions so much better, knowing so much more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Knowledge is power. I say that all the time when it comes to money. Just knowing where your stuff is, having a picture, you feel so good.
Now, I want to tell my listeners before we get into the checklist for wealth care, I want to tell my listeners that you are married with kids, so you're a mom, but also you got into this business. Meanwhile, well, I want to tell my listeners first that Amanda has been a financial advisor for 15 years, but she got into the business because a friend of hers was going through a divorce several years ago, asked Amanda for help. She didn't realize how much help a divorced person going through a divorce, a woman needed, started talking to her, helping her, and then decided she wanted to have this niche.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly right. I always say, I kind of always knew I wanted to help women. My father passed when I was 12, so I was raised by a single mom and just saw her really own the finances, have to step into that CFO role after not being in that role and not partaking in, any of that. So that was always a fire for me. And then Jackie, like you said, it was really solidified when my best friend came to me and said, "Hey, this is a thing that's happening in my life and I need your help. You help people with money all the time." And I said, "Well, I help happy people with their money." Like there's a whole other
And you don't even know if they're really happy because half of
you
them
know,
are going to get divorced too.
that is a statistic, right? Like it was so out of my depth. But the more and more I started like taking the steps toward getting a CDFA, the Certified Divorce Financial Analyst accreditation, and really looking at how to help women divorce with dignity and empowerment and really grab hold of their finances, I was hooked. We need help. We need to rally together as women, and it takes a village.
So I just want to tell my listeners, and then I promise we're getting to the wealth care checklist. Amanda holds people's hands throughout the entire divorce. So she doesn't just want you to call her after the divorce is final and say, "Hey, I need to invest my money." She wants to help you make decisions and be involved with your divorce lawyer, your mediator, real estate agent, certified divorce lending professional, your team of people to help you get the best divorce outcome possible. And she will hold your hand through the entire process. I love that about you. It's great.
It works out so well, really understanding where she's coming from and what she's going through during the divorce process, helping her to make educated and intelligent decisions. Um, because that's what investing in financial planning is post divorce. You have to make sure you're setting yourself up properly during the divorce, which can be hard and exhausting, and you get decision fatigue. And sometimes you just need someone in your corner that's going to say, "Don't give up, keep fighting for that. This is important," or "Don't make that wealth mistake." Right.
And
And
how about we're going to break it down? We don't have to make all these decisions today. Let's focus on this one decision this month, and next month we'll talk about the other.
amen. I always say that to my women that I work with going through divorce. I can run as fast as you need me to run with you, or we can walk as slow as you need to walk. But the point of doing all of this work is that you sign your marital settlement agreement feeling like I couldn't have made any other better financial decisions through this process. And I feel so well equipped to go into my next chapter.
All right. I was going to get to the break, but I think people will be really pissed if I don't start the wealth care checklist. Okay. So I'm going to list the wealth care checklist items and then you just explain them. The first one, this is probably my favorite one. Let go of negative self-talk about money. Women need to get away from the self-destructive stereotype that they aren't good with money.
Oh my gosh. This is like number one, you must, right? So many women come to me and they say, "Oh my gosh, Amanda, you must think I'm so stupid." Or "I didn't used to always be this dumb. I let him take care of my money."
It's so
It's
sad.
awful. And one of the very first things we work on is, "You're not dumb. I don't think you're stupid. I don't think you're bad with money." A lot of, up until a while ago, women were taught you're better at language arts than math. I know I certainly was, right? So a lot of that filters through me, especially with gray divorce, right? Like women will come to me and say, "Well, I was taught I'm not good with math." Who taught you that? Why? Why? So a lot of the work I do in the very beginning is, "You're not dumb. You're not stupid. I don't think any of those things about you. No question you ask me, am I going back after our meeting and laughing about? what do you need to know and what do you need to learn? Because the landscape has probably changed a lot since, you know, if you've taken some time off of the financial conversation during your divorce, the landscape's probably changed a lot. And what do you need to know now? Because the landscape is going to continue to change a lot through the divorcing process. So just letting it go. And that's when the real work can begin, right? When you kind of let yourself off the hook.
Now we need to go to the break. You're listening to the Divorced Girl Smiling podcast. My name is Jackie Pilosoff, and I'm your host. Today, I am here with financial advisor Amanda Campbell, CFP, Certified Divorce Financial Analyst, AAMS. I don't know what that is, and AIF, but tons of credentials, really experienced. She's a financial advisor for WealthSpire Advisors. And Amanda and I are talking about wealth care, which is a form of self-care. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more things for a wealth care checklist. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Divorced Girl Smiling podcast. My name is Jackie Pilosoff, and I'm your host. Today, we are talking about a form of self-care. It's called wealth care, and we're offering a wealth care checklist, tips you can take to become less stressed about money and have a healthier relationship with money. My guest is, sorry, we have to edit that out. My guest is financial advisor Amanda Campbell, a certified divorce financial analyst, and she's with WealthSpire Advisors. If you like what you're hearing and you want to have a consult with Amanda, you can find her in the trusted professional section of Divorced Girl Smiling, or you can find her on the WealthSpire Advisors website. All right, tip number 2. Educate yourself. Women need to be braver in becoming more financially savvy. Now, I know we've been talking about this, but I just have to say it again. Women are so intimidated by money, and it's not like you don't know anything. You probably know something, but you need to build on it. And even if you're like, no, I don't know anything, that's okay. We're not expecting you to get your MBA. We just want you to know the basics. Tell me more about that.
Absolutely. So this need is something I've seen so prominently, you know, in my 15 years of doing this business is just that you need just kind of basic financial literacy, right? Like just start at the basics. Try not to get overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, I turned on CNN or I turned on Wall Street or, you know, I'm looking at this or I'm reading Wall Street. That's not a good place to start. Right, just start with the basics. So my sister and I kind of wrote a book for women. You know, she's a personal trainer and nutritionist. I'm an advisor, just health and wealth care basics for women. Because again, just start from the basics, right? What is your net worth? What do you own? What do you owe? Right? I always say educating yourself can truly be as simple as what is going on in our financial picture? What 401ks do we have? What bank accounts do we have? What brokerage accounts do we have, right? Start there. Start with something small. Maybe start with your own budget. How much do you think you spend per month? Right? From there, you can kind of start building up, learning more. But net worth and kind of your budget, those have to be the basic starting points. So educate yourself there and then it all blossoms.
I love it. What do I owe and what do I own? I mean, it's pretty simple.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
And
That's
also, we got to get your sister on the podcast. She sounds awesome.
She's fun. We have a lot of
What
fun helping
what
women.
a pair.
It's fun.
All right, number 3, take control of the purse strings. And you say here that it's only been in the past few decades that women have had the opportunity to manage their finances independently without the co-signature of a man when opening up a bank account, buying real estate, or even taking out a line of credit. Really?
Can you believe it?
No.
It's so crazy to think about, especially since nowadays so many women are the breadwinners in their family. Like it's just wild that this is a rather, you know, you look back on history, it's a rather recent development that women can independently go get a credit card, can independently sign for a loan. seems bananas to me. But I'm sure women listening are like, oh my gosh, I kind of remember that, right?
Mhm.
Uh,
Like their mother.
yes,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So, I always say if you are starting to go through the divorce process, right? Go get your own credit card in your own name because it is harder to get a credit card post divorce if you don't have an income coming in, right? Like do things for yourself. So, a really great thing, again, go get a credit card in your own name. Start figuring out what your budget looks like. Take control of the purse strings. Are you on jointly owned accounts? If so, do you know how to get into them? Do you know the passwords? Do you even know the website? Right? Like honest to goodness, start understanding and start cracking into those things so that you're not left out in the dark.
And if you work with Amanda, she'll walk you right through it. So, I wouldn't know where to start. Like, it's hard for me to put myself in that mindset because I was in it. I did it all. And I didn't even get married till I was 35. So I had already owned a home. I had everything, but I was not the norm. So I really have a hard time putting myself into that situation. Although in the past 10 years of having Divorce Girl Smiling, I've talked to thousands of women who were in that situation. So it's not uncommon and there's no shame in it and it's never too late. And guess what else? When you take control of the purse strings, you're going to love, love, love life and being independent like that and not having to worry about it.
Amen. That's kind of my favorite part and why I do this work, why I find it so rewarding. I always get to watch the transition, right? Of having a woman get to the other side of the bridge and just seeing her light and her glow completely change post divorce. I'm working with a woman right now and she's like, I've never been to Scotland. Do you think I can go? Like I'm divorced now. I want to go. She can go a couple times if she feels like it. And she never had any idea.
Well, that's why a good financial advisor is so important because when you have these questions, like I remember feeling like I didn't even know what I could afford. I didn't know what I was bringing in really. I didn't know what I was spending. I wasn't sure, and then I sat down with a financial advisor who said, "Here's what your money is going to be in 7 years if you don't get a job right now." Oh, I'll be out of money in two. I had retirement money, but I didn't have money for now. And it really made me go get a job. And that was scary. It was depressing. I wasn't happy about it, but it made me wake up and make good decisions and it worked out. So important to have a meeting with a financial advisor when you're thinking of getting divorced or going through one so that you, Amanda, can take the whole picture and tell people what their options are and what they need to do to meet their goals.
And that's what it's all about, right? I tell women all the time, a dollar is a dollar is a dollar. It's just a tool to help you live your best life. So let's work together to figure out what your best life is post divorce, because that's what we're working towards during the divorce process, right? Like, what do you need so that you live your best next chapter?
And that's the next tip on the checklist, which is set short and long-term goals. So you really have to talk about this stuff. But Amanda, I know you're going to agree with me. What if people say, like, I don't know what I want to do? That's normal. But
Uh,
you know what I mean? That's really, it takes years to figure it out. And that's where the life coaches come in. They're so good for that. Can I give a plug to one of my life coaches who I think is amazing for if somebody doesn't know what they want to do and you're trying to figure out what am I supposed to do, whether you need the money or not. Michelle Heffron is a great coach. She's on the Divorce Girl Smiling Trusted Professional page. She's a former executive. She's been in the workforce. She's been a stay-at-home mom. She's divorced. She's the best at helping people figure out what they're supposed to do right now after divorce if you just really don't have a clue. So, michelleheffron.com or in the Trusted Professional section of Divorced Girl Smiling. But let's get back to this short term. What does a short term goal versus a long term goal look like?
so I say short term is anything that's going to happen kind of in the next 24 months, right? In the next 2 years. Um, And I like that goal space because I say post divorce, you shouldn't do anything big and crazy for 24 months, whether that's buy a house or, just, I don't know. I had a woman once say, well, my son's going to college in Iowa, so I think I want to sell my house and go out there. And I was like, well, have you ever been to Iowa? And she was like, no. And I was like, well, then maybe let's Airbnb and see if we even enjoy it.
Yes.
Like post divorce, like excitement, crazy, like just your head is in a million different places, right? You've probably been thinking about things for months and months and months on end. Just take a minute, right? Short-term goals, 2 years, they shouldn't be anything insane crazy, right? But I do always say women tend to have like a post-divorce hurrah. And I always say, whether that comes in the form of like, I'm going on vacation with my girlfriends, I'm going on a retreat, or anything cosmetic. I've been seeing a lot of cosmetic surgeries be the hurrah.
Yes.
Um, I had a woman buy herself a piece of Tiffany jewelry because she's like, I was never given jewelry and this is what I want. You go, girl, do your thing. That 24-month clip, that's nice short-term goals. Anything beyond that, I really do tend to categorize as long-term goals. So, if you want a beach home, or you think maybe I do want to eventually move to Iowa to be closer to my son, if that's the thing.
Or
Let's
get a second home there or something.
right. Exactly. But let's put that on the back burner for a little bit later. Let's let our heads clear. Let's let the dust settle. And to your point, Jackie, you said it earlier. Let's just take the time to make educated and intelligent decisions together, right? Because that's what this is about.
And I want to say something about money. And I'm somebody who's been in every bracket of financial wealth. I've been like wealthy. I've been struggling where I was really scared I was going to have to ask my parents for money. I have been everywhere in between. The happiest I ever have been is making my own money. And what I've come to learn, and before this podcast, I want to tell my listeners, I was telling Amanda about some financial mistakes I made. And I had a really hard time and I beat myself up about it for a long time. But now I just kind of feel like if you have enough money to pretty much lead a life and have whatever you want, I'm not saying like buy yourself lavish things all the time, but like on a daily basis, just have enough food, have shelter, be able to pay your bills, live comfortably, not have too much daily financial stress. I mean, yes, you have to plan for retirement also, but if you make some mistakes, it's not the end of the world. It's not like a life changer. As long as your money is invested wisely and you have long-term plans financially, it's okay if you make some mistakes.
It is okay if you make some mistakes. Number one, everybody makes a financial mistake here or there, right? And a financial mistake could be as easy as, oh, you're getting the home renovated and you ordered a bunch of stuff and you don't like it anymore. Like financial mistakes can be any shape or size, right? They are usually not enough to derail your entire financial plan, right? A big financial mistake, I will say one that is extraordinarily hard to come back from, and kind of like this is a big one. A big financial mistake is when the market's down, if you liquidate to cash. That's not a small financial mistake. That is something that can really, really hurt you. So again, just like knowing, to your point, Jackie, most financial mistakes are small in the relative picture of life, but having somebody who can tell you this is a big financial mistake, this isn't a path you want to go down, that's worth its weight in gold. So yeah, but you're right, Jackie. Most people, I tell most of my women, unless you take half of your wealth, go to Vegas, put it on black, and it turns up red, you're gonna be fine.
I
And most of my
love that. That would make me feel a lot better. All right,
yeah.
we're getting down to the end. Last thing on the checklist is make incremental changes. What does that mean?
Incremental changes, baby steps. I am such a big fan of baby steps when it comes to anything in life, but especially wealth. And the best example I can give is, to your point, Jackie, right? Maybe you get divorced, you need to start a new job, and women will come to me and say, "Oh my gosh, my new job, they just offered me a 401k. I guess I need to max that out. How do I max that?" Whoa. If you've been a stay-at-home mom or you've been out of the workforce for a little while, like let's just start baby steps with getting to max funding your 401k. Yes, it's a wonderful long-term goal. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. And I think a lot of times with finance, people think it is all or nothing, right? Either I max fund my 401k or I don't at all. Either I put 100 grand into an investment account or I'd never start an investment account, right? Take baby steps. And maybe the baby step is if you're kind of at the beginning of divorce, right? You're going to be asked for all this information. Maybe the baby step is maybe, this week I will find out where two of our accounts are, right? Like everything financial can be broken down into bite-sized pieces. I tell women all the time, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was your financial picture. Financial picture
Right.
take years
You
to
know what's so funny? I was on a plane a few months ago and I had this like sort of breakdown and kind of started crying. I don't know. I get like really emotional when I'm like in the air. I'm nervous. I'm just like not a great flyer, although I've gotten way better. But I decided to take out a piece of paper and a pen and I wrote down everything that I wanted to change. And they were like little things. And I had this list of like 8 things. I have crossed off the list in the last 3 months of every single thing except one. And it
don't
makes me feel good. It's like, I was like, okay, took care of that, took care of that. And it's really a nice feeling. And I didn't try because if I would have just said, this is bothering me, this is bothering me, this is bothering me, not written it down, it's too overwhelming to do anything about. It's easier to say, I'm just miserable and that's it. But if you
yes,
just break it down incrementally and just do one thing at a time, it feels so good.
it feels so good. And like the best example I can give of this is when my husband and I were first married, he had student loans and we knew we needed to tackle them. We literally had 2 jars and we had no money when we first got married. Oh my God, we had no money. Sometimes we joke, we're like, why did anybody let us take our baby home from the hospital? Like, were they like, these two can support this child? Like, but we had no money, but we knew we had to pay off his student loans. We had 2 jars and we literally put the amount of his like smallest student loan on a sticky note on one of the jars, and we had marbles in the other one. So like 10 marbles equaled $1,000, right? And every time we could put money towards the student loan, like $100, we'd move one marble. And eventually the jar filled up on the other side, right? We moved all the O to all of the own, and it felt so good. So just baby steps that will make you feel good. Even if you have to do something visual like that to see it, it just helps. It just
Well, also, you have in this article, it's as simple as putting away $25 a week to
it,
save over $1,000 by the end of the year. And guess
literally,
what? If you take the thousand and invest it in like even like a money market right now is paying like 5%,
oh,
get all this
oh,
free money.
mm-hmm. There are just, when it comes to money, the littlest step is better than no step at all. Like, even the other example I give to women is like, listen, I know everyone's so sick of hearing about this. Like, don't buy the coffee, don't buy the coffee. I love coffee. I don't like whatever. Like, I drink one a day. Do I go to Starbucks every day for it? No. Like it, because it really does matter. That's $7. Like, oh my God, now they're like $7, $8, right? But like, I know everyone's tired of that jargon. Like, just don't buy the coffee. I mean, it does kind of add up if you don't buy the coffee every single day.
Could not agree more. I'm sorry. I think Starbucks is the biggest ripoff and it's
It
not
totally
even that
is.
good. Do you think I'm going to get like sued? But I like Starbucks. And what I would tell people is that if you really love your Starbucks or your Dunkin', tell yourself, I'm going to get it for myself as a treat twice a week. Even the 5 days a week you don't get it, that's $35 a week. That's
Yeah.
$140 a month.
Yep.
I mean, it adds up.
It's real money. It's real money. The one I hear from women all the time going through divorce, they're like, oh, I just like, I can't stop door dashing. And I'm like, that's great when you're going through the divorce process. That may be one area that you are truly like, I have to outsource right now. I don't want to worry about what food I'm preparing. Give yourself grace, but it cannot become a lifestyle, right?
I also want to recommend HelloFresh
Mm,
because I have had times in my life where I get those boxes when I feel really busy. Because for me, the reason I don't cook much, when I don't cook, I really enjoy cooking. But when I don't, because I'm just too busy working and with my kids, I get HelloFresh and then you don't even have to go to the grocery store. That's the hardest part, or figure out what to make. And I want to tell my listeners this. Cooking is a form of meditation. So if you decide you don't have time to cook, try to make time a couple days a week because A, you're going to save money, but B, You are going to have a break from everything. When you're cooking and you smell those smells and you are just relaxing, maybe put on music and cook, maybe have a glass of wine while you're doing it. It is such a form of relaxation and meditation and self-care.
Amen. You'll feel better about yourself. You're eating
I
real
bet
food.
your sister would say that was a good idea.
Yes. I mean, it is so true. And that's kind of the point of all this, right? Your health and your wealth are so combined. You have to take care of yourself to even be able to have those thoughts and intelligent conversations and decision making abilities when it comes to money. You have to be taking care of yourself. So I actually love that you have real and kind of good advice for women. Like, hey, divorce is stressful. You're not always going to want to cook. Maybe get the HelloFresh, right? I always say, give yourself grace when you need it, but it shouldn't be a lifestyle, right? It shouldn't be
Well, the
door.
other thing HelloFresh does is it teaches you how to cook, and then
Yeah,
you don't even need it anymore because you know exactly how to make stuff because it's not hard. I'm a big HelloFresh fan.
I love it. I did it for a while back when my youngest was a really little baby. I was new to 3 and I was like, I just need some help. It was great.
I know. Amanda, this has been so nice, and I am so appreciative of all your advice.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. And truly, I hope, I hope women get at least one nugget out of this because I don't know. We need a band together. There's so many resources for men out there when it comes to money. And hopefully we can start putting more resources like this into the world for women. So it's awesome.
I love it. Tell my listeners where they can find you if they want to consult.
Yes. So easiest way to get to me is always by email. So amanda.campbell@wealthspire.com, or feel free to just call right into my office. Sweet Pat or Sweet Felicia will pick right up. My number is 410-988-9494. You will get a real person and they'll just walk you through the process of how to set up a consult. Couldn't be easier. We look forward to speaking with you.
Awesome. And if you want to find Amanda, you can also find her in the trusted professional section of Divorced Girl Smiling, along with 50 other trusted, vetted divorce professionals. And these are all vetted by me and my advisory board. And they are good people. And we aim to give people the best divorce outcome possible. You can also go to divorcegirlsmiling.com to listen to more podcasts, read articles, download my mobile app, or sign up for my free consult. Thank you so much for listening, everyone, and we'll talk to you real soon.